The key to this car might be the fact that you can barely tell it's different by looking at it. Quite the opposite of what happens when you drive it. Let's connect with the 2012 Ford Focus Electric and check the tech.
Now, spotting a Focus EV isn't that easy, and that's part of the story on this car. You see, car makers fall in two camps if they make electric cars. Either make it electric and weird looking, see Mitsubishi, or make it electric and totally stealth, see Ford. The main dead giveaway is this face, this really good looking Aston Martin-esque grille. Except it isn't a grill at all, because there's no radiator. You don't need any airflow. There's no engine up here, just an electric motor. So this is a solid fascia. Over here's another dead giveaway, this really slick rotating pop-up charger port door. I have grave doubts about it lasting more than a year before you have to replace it, or working at all in heavy snow, but I still like it. Now, nothing in here is going to look like a typical engine bay because there's no engine, electric motor here, a 107 kilowatt electric motor. What does that equate to? About 143 horsepower, but because it's electric, it's a torque monster. 184 foot-pounds of torque. That is a great number in a car in this class in particular. And equally dissimilar to the Focus you may drive is the transmission, or basic lack thereof. It's a one-speed conversion gearbox is what it is. There's no shifting going on here, but there's a gear conversion to match up the engine's RPMs, which are relatively high, over to the wheel's RPM that you want on the road. Now, of course, in an electric car, the battery is as important or more important than the electric motor. And here it is. It's a 23 kilowatt hour unit. It's a big battery, about the same size, capacity-wise, as that in a Nissan Leaf. But a Nissan Leaf, being a clean sheet design, has the whole thing buried in the belly of the vehicle. Here on the Focus EV, you do give up a fair amount of trunk space. It's just right there in your way. You got to bear that in mind. Now, in terms of range, official estimate about 76 miles on this guy, and that's also part of a 110 mpge EPA rating. That's that new number that tries to equate the energy used to power a gas car against an electric car. Now, the charge time and cost are interesting. To charge this battery, this is Ford's big headline on this car, it takes 3 to 4 hours using a level 2 charger. That's one that plugs into a 240-volt outlet, like the one your dryer uses. A Nissan Leaf, using the same kind of charger, takes roughly twice as long. Not only is it charged just 3 to 4 hours for full capacity from zero, but the top-ups will go much faster as well, and that's the real-world charging you'll be doing more often. Now, the cost of that charge, about $2.75 using a national average cost of electricity. However, as we're about to learn, they've got some technology in this car that lets you tell it to charge only when the rates are low, which could bring your total charge cost down by more than half. Now, inside the Focus EV is pretty standard high-trim Focus stuff with a couple of differences. First of all, the gear selector here looks like an automatic, but as we mentioned, it's really not. It's just a one-speed transfer case. You're normally going to be in drive, but if you want to get greater brake regen, you'll go to low. Now, on the left side of the Speedo, one of Ford's unique displays here that's controlled by this left-hand wing controller, you have a range view, a 5-minute history view. Of course, you got your battery range in both level and predicted mileage. You've also got something called budget, which is the mileage calculation against your destination or the next charging station on the map that you've input. And the interface gets even more interesting when you install the My Ford mobile app, currently available for iPhone, coming shortly after we shoot this video for BlackBerry and Android. You've got a status that shows mile range and battery capacity. This next tab here shows you charging stations. You can also plot those on the navigation system, and the car will figure out if you're going to make it or not, and that also goes into that budget readout. Here's a trip planner that's also cognizant of can you make it on your current charge, and if not, it plots out charging stations along the way you're going to have to stop at. And some standard telematics like remote control to turn the car on or off, unlock the doors, find the thing when you've lost it, and, very interestingly, set up the most ambitious charging schedule using some data from Microsoft, a database on the back end in the cloud that takes into account where you are, the best times to charge, based on your usage of the car, though. So it's not just going to say, I only charge between 2 and 6 a.m., if in fact you, for some reason, drive a car a lot that time. And this system also lets you take your best green driving performance and upload it to Facebook as a challenge to other Ford Focus EV drivers. I won't be doing that. The power on the Focus EV is ample, but it's not tuned for performance like it could be. I mean, there's a lot of torque and power here, but it's been tuned for range as well as responsiveness. So that's the word I give it, responsive, but it's not a sports car. But by no means does it feel like a slug. It's a nice balance, I think. Now, the ride quality compared to a Leaf, I recall the Leaf feeling a little more luxurious, a little more floaty, and this car I feel like is a little more responsive and slightly towards sporty. One area I'm not entirely a fan of is the regenerative braking on this car. When you get on the brakes with any significance, like going down a hill or a short stop in traffic, it's not really linear how it kicks in. It feels like it kicks in notches that feel a little bit unrefined, but it might just be that I'm driving in a very hilly area in San Francisco. Now, this energy gauge here on the MyView panel on the left is a little busy for my taste. I'm getting so many indications of budgeted mileage, predicted mileage, battery charge, battery recharge, 5-minute time slices of battery usage, and 2 other things I have no idea what they are. I don't want to study that much. All I need to know is how much range do I have left, and basically, how am I recharging? How well am I regenerating power? And it does that with Brake Coach. At the end of coming to a full stop, it'll show you how much of the energy, the kinetic energy of the car, you recaptured by braking in the proper manner. It coaches you to brake very linearly and very gradually as you come to a stop. Okay, pricing a Focus EV. It's a $40,000 car, but you take $7,500 off in the tax year that you buy one new on your federal return, and your state may offer a nice chunk off as well. Here in California right now, it's $2,500, and you get the nice stickers for the HOV lane. Now, a Leaf is anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 less, depending on trim level. This comes in only one trim level. The other thing to consider is which ride dynamics do you like better? I find the Leaf a little more luxurious, this car a little more sporty, if you will. And the last consideration is the charge difference. A vastly shorter charge time on this vehicle. That's the price you pay, both in dollars and in some compromised trunk space. In the tax year, you buy one new, not used. They're so new, that's all. Jesus. Boy. Still running? If it is, we'll just keep rolling.